This is Rowena Dooley asking Seoul citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Seoul citizens to report for duty.
And greetings. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I am Griffin Gaming RPG, and we are back. Today is April. My days of April the 8th, and we are so happy that you guys are joining us today. It's a beautiful day where I'm at. Hopefully, it's great where you are. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation as always. Soul Voices is our Saturday show where you get to come in and speak with me directly and also with the community and share your thoughts about the topics that we pick. We pick those topics from Spectrum and from Reddit and from the gaming industry. And today we're definitely going to hit 2 from Spectrum, 2 from Reddit, and hopefully have some really good feedback as we always do. I am going to throw something out there for you guys. Those of you who are here early are probably our faithful followers. And I want to ask, I'm going to actually put out a little something here. I'm curious to know, we're going to try a new technology that Twitch is offering. Twitch is only on Twitch, guys. So YouTube folks, my apologies that we can't extend this to you. But Twitch has put in a new thing called Guest Star, which allows you to bring people into your chat and talk with you. You don't have to have a camera. It's just voice. But as you guys know right now, when you want to come in and talk with us, you basically have to go to our Discord, and then we bring you in. We're going to try and see if we can get rid of the middle person, and see if we can make it so that you guys can come directly in. So I don't know whether or not your Twitch channel is reflecting that you can do that, but you're supposed to be able to request. Shimpasta, thank you so much for kicking us off with that sub for 11 months. We appreciate you so much. But I'm not sure, again, whether or not it's working. So yeah, I haven't figured out how you can request either. I've been looking like for the last hour online and can't figure out how. I know how to invite people. I know how to invite you guys in, but there's supposed to be a way that you could just request and say, hey, Griff, I'd love to come in and talk to you. And unfortunately, I just have not seen it. I've tried ! Join, ! Request. Nothing seems to be working. So for right now, I guess we're going to still have to see if we can make it work by using Discord, but I was hoping there's a little bubble at the top of the chat. Dark Knight, there is, okay, because I didn't see it, and I tried using my account, and it wouldn't let me do it. Okay, so DK, do me a favor. Since you're there and you see it, would you mind doing it for me real quick? Just hitting it and let me see if you pop up in the request area, because if you do, then that tells me it works and that other people can do it. Penumbra, thank you for that Prime sub. Appreciate that for 3 months. Thank you for following us. We appreciate that. Yes, DK, there it is. I don't know why I didn't see it. That's really weird, but it is there. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, DK. Um, so just so you guys will know, there is a little bubble. DK, I'm going to bring you in, and I just want to test the audio because I was trying to do it before the show, and it just didn't happen. So if it's okay, I'm going to bring you in, and let's see what happens. Are you there? Dark Knight? Oh, you're in the queue. Okay, let's see what happens here. Per guest. In the queue. Guys, give me a second here. I'm working through some technical here, but I just want to see if I can get this to work. If it works, then that's great. It doesn't. All right. All right. I don't know why I'm not seeing you now, even though it says you're in the queue. Okay. So. Well, that's first of all, I'm assuming that DK has his mic hooked up because he may not have had his microphone hooked up, so that might be another thing. Guest slot, you're already here. Okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. That's obviously what the deal is. It's not DK's fault. So I'm going to try and figure that out later. In the meantime, I guess we'll have to go with our normal way of bringing you guys in to talk to me. I was really trying to make the process a lot easier for you guys. Also, it helps keep track of who's in what order, which for me, it just, I'm always mixing up people. But for some reason, it says you're in the queue, DK, but it's not showing me like where, like where I can click on your name and say, hey, come on in. So thank you for making the attempt to get in. I'm not going to waste any more time on this right now. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I just killed it, DK, so thank you anyway. Oh, there. And now that's weird. There it popped up. Slot guest. Okay, let's see. Send to slot 1. There. Okay. Are you there, DK? I don't hear him. What about now? Nope, don't hear him still.
Do you hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
Okay.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Do you guys
let me make the stream?
No, you're okay. Do you guys hear DK in this in the stream? Somebody throw a yes or a no in there. You hear him.
It's pretty cool because I do hear you. I muted the actual stream.
Okay.
And it pops up a little window of the stream on a separate tab with my tab on the right side. It kind of looks like Twitch. In a way.
Okay.
And think about Twitch and Zoom if you combine the two.
Okay. So there was something that popped up. That's really interesting.
Yes. But I had to set it up. So what I had to do,
you had to go through a little process, right?
The whole verification process and verify the codes and all that other kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then once it did it, it allowed me to accept the backstage. That's when you saw that I popped up. And then it brought me in when you brought me in and immediately brought me in on my end.
Okay. So that might have been what it was. While you were doing the setting up stuff, I was thinking it wasn't letting you in. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. And the only reason you couldn't hear me is because I've got like 5 mic inputs.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, DK. I appreciate that. Guys, there is a little process of setting up, and I forgot about that. And it took him maybe about a minute to do it, I guess. But we may monkey with this. I don't know. Cool. I mean, it's cool because it brings you right in. It puts you in line. I know who's in and all that good stuff. We'll see.
Especially if they don't have Discord, this is a good way to do
it. Yeah, definitely.
But join our Discord; it makes it better.
Yeah, there you go. That makes it even nicer, right? All right, DK, thank you, man. I appreciate you jumping in and helping, brother.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks. Okay, that's that. Yeah, I'll have to fish around with that a little bit more. Okay. Today, I'm going to go ahead and default to Discord. If you want to try it, and I'll try to keep it open. If I see you in there, I'll try to bring you in. Let's hope it works. If you want to just do it to get the verification process out of the way, that's another thing too. But let's go ahead and jump into today's show. Again, thank you guys for being here today. Today's show is titled, we're going to get to this question a little bit later, but today is what keeps you going. We're going to be talking about what keeps you going in Star Citizen. Some of you have been in here for a few months. Some of you have been in here for a few years. Some of you have been here for a decade. So we're going to talk about what keeps you going, or what keeps you coming back, or what keeps you hanging in there with this thing. I don't know. That's a whole conversation into itself, right? But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, let's go ahead and get into the topics that we've got today. We've got a couple right here from Spectrum. And this is an interesting one. I'm digging this one. You know, it's interesting when we reference our good friend SaltEMike. So we're going to start out with a post that he posted. I'm going to put the link in chat for you, because what I'm going to read to you is much shorter. Well, what's on the screen, I should say, is much shorter than what you see on his post. So there's the link. I just dropped it in, and I'm going to read it for you, for those of you who don't have it open. It says, CIG, maybe make the wipe a little less painful. Of course, we're talking about the wipe that's coming for 3.18. As you guys know, CIG notified us this week that they are going to do a full wipe on 3.18. They just need to do it. Originally, there was going to be a thing where reputation was going to remain. I think that money was going to remain. But now they say they're going to do this full wipe. And so what Mike writes in here is CIG make the wipe a little bit less painful. At this point, with 3.18, we have had a ton of people excited to join Star Citizen for the first time, come back from an extended break, or regular players ready to jump into some of the new features. And everything fell apart, and that's okay. Nobody expected 3.18 not to be a rocky experience, but I want to address an issue that I think can make the upcoming wipe a little less painful. There is an obvious option to have players start with even more money than 200K AUEC, so they can purchase the ships that they lost in the wipe of 3.18. Then what would be the motivation to play 3.18.2? There are 3 ships, possibly 4, depending on how you look at things, being held back for a major release like 3.19. The Corsair, the Cutter, and the C8R.
I am very happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you here. Thank you. It's EPAP. Thank you for following us. There was a lot of drama around the subject of holding these back. And at this point, it has been well over 100 days since these ships were made flyable in the game, but are not available for game purchase. I think it is much a bigger win for the team to give something for the players to work toward, like earning these new and really cool ships, than just giving some money back so they can buy the ones that they already had. What about that 4th ship, the Vulture? There are a lot of problems with the players trying to work together, and bugs related to the cargo refactor are preventing making not stolen cargo seem stolen. If the Vulture is available in-game, one account can purchase them in-game, and that issue is resolved for now. All this considering it's millions of credits people have been working toward to buy the ship like the Reclaimer. The Vulture should be available for players who want to try the new ship stripping experience. Do you have any thoughts? So, yeah, as you guys know, it is painful when there's a full wipe. You know, sometimes CIG tells us we're not going to do it. We're only going to do certain things. But there were a lot of problems in this particular patch. So I'm not going to elaborate too much. I'm going to bring in folks. Pops was here, I think, first. We'll bring him in, then we'll cycle our way on through. So here we go. Pops, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine and fine.
Good.
Yeah, I understand where Salty Mike is coming from on this. Yeah, less painful is a nice thing. If that could absolutely happen. If they had a way, or maybe if they had to wipe it, because I remember once they had to do a wipe, but then they gave everyone a certain amount of money after that. I think it was had to do with Xenothreat. So there is a way for them to give money. I don't know about reputation. If they can put that back, that's probably would be a big log to go through. So I do understand it. I do understand what he's saying, and we wish it would be a little less harsh. But on the other side, CIG, it is testing, so we have to try to balance that out internally within ourselves.
Very cool. All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Pops. Good thoughts. All right. Let's see who we've got. I'm going to go with Kai next. Bring him in. Kai's in. Are you there?
Hello, hello.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
Good. You got any thoughts?
I find myself completely agreeing with Mike on this point. I would like to modify it to say CIG should give people money, reputation, ships, whatever, based not so much on what the players would want, but based on what CIG would want. For example, maybe one wipe, they give everybody damn near max reputation because they want to test like the end layer, like how the upper areas of how the reputation loops are working. And then maybe the next one, they want to kind of give people, they wipe it and they give people middle reputation because they want to test like the middle ground. Maybe one wipe, they give people just a massive boatload of money because they want to test certain things with the economy. The next wipe, they give people damn near no money because they want to test the lower levels. I think CIG could be very smart and target what level of resources they give players at the beginning of a wipe cycle, specifically suited to what they're looking to test and what they're looking to, really try to hone in on that particular patch cycle per se. But I think it's a very decent idea. I mean, for example, they already do something sort of similar where they give you a certain amount of cash where you start after every wipe in the PTU. You start with a small, boatload of money. Yeah, I think that would be useful. I think that people need to understand that the game is in alpha and they'll wipe it anytime they need to. Sometimes that wipe is based on, hey, we want to sort of clear through things. Other times that is like, hey, we didn't really plan to wipe here. We didn't want to wipe here, but man, we've had some database issues and we need to wipe here. I think that is all okay, and I support them 100% in making whatever decisions they feel are responsible for properly managing and developing the game. The one criticism that I would have of CIG, and I love Xylo, but Xylo went out there in writing verbatim a couple weeks back, a month back, whatever, and said, there will not be a wipe with this. And then it turned out there needed to be. I strongly believe, as much as I love and respect CIG and support what they're doing, I think they need to stop being stupid and mentioning anything on a hard timeline. Don't give dates and never say no wipe.
Yeah.
You can't know that it's going to be. And we as consumers, we as adults need to understand that if CIG is stupid enough to say a date or stupid enough to say no wipe, we need to just treat that like when politicians talk and just go, yeah, that's nice. I'll believe it when I see it. Because they need to have the freedom to wipe at any given moment based on, oh shit, the database just took a shit. And now if we don't wipe, we're being very irresponsible with how we manage this development cycle.
Yeah.
So we just need to know, they need to know, keep your mouth shut talking about it. And we need to know, don't believe anything talking about it. Like, just everybody, let's be responsible. Let's be adults.
Yeah.
And let's not make of them or of ourselves unreasonable expectations.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment, Kai. I've been around long enough to know that when anything major happens in this game, there's always the possibility of a wipe, right? This isn't going from 18.2 to 18.3. This is, and it was a big leap because of PES, the persistence piece. And a lot of us have been around before when we've had a major leap in the tech or something has changed, and CIG says we've got to reset the clock. Now, sometimes we also know it happens because, just like in this patch also, there were a variety of exploits that happened in this one too. A lot of exploits. In fact, I think this one I've seen probably the most exploits, and I've seen a patch in a long time. And when you've been around long enough and you see it, I wasn't surprised when they said it. I do feel for people who either didn't have that history or don't know. I do feel sorry for people who, like you said a few weeks ago, raised the question of, hey, are you guys going to do a full wipe? And then CIG turns around and says, no, we're not. I agree with you 100%, because they do box themselves in. The intention could be good, but it's short term. And in the long term, it's a high price to pay. And it's no different than the conversation you and I were having last week about, should they put out the commercials day one of a major drop? You know what I mean? It's like, no, save that sucker, Wait till we've got all the bugs out, and even if it's a month or 6 weeks later, put the commercial out then when the game is stable enough that people who don't know anything about this project can come in and enjoy it and not be turned off. And so here you've got people who are in the project who basically get turned off. Anyway, I agree with your assessment 100%, and I think it has to be a balance between not only what the players want, but also CIG. They could, like you said, they can incentivize reasons for wanting when these things happen, right? That do make it, listen and explain it, communicate, right? Listen, this time we're only giving you X number of dollars because we need you guys to do this. This time we're raising the reputation because we want you to test it, which is what they do with Evo. You know, they tell Evo specifically, here's some areas that we want you guys to focus in on, you know, and I know people are going to do what they want to do, but there are a lot of people who also would respond if they say, hey, we're going to give you 20 million, buy as many clothes as you can. There will be people who go in there and do it. You know, they'll do it, you know, so.
Or if they wanted to do something general, CIG could literally say, we don't have a specific targeted thing we want to test this patch. We're just testing everything in general. They could literally say, we're doing a wipe. Everything is wiped. Nobody has any money at all, but everybody has one free ship.
There you go.
Go to the store, and I don't care if it's a racing ship, a combat ship, a mining ship, a refining ship, a salvage ship. Everybody gets one free ship. Go and play with that ship. Play the hell out of that loop. And then in, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, when we do the next wipe, get a different ship. And try to play that loop. And there's a lot that I think there are some people that are turned off to the aspect of a game in alpha because they're like, well, I want to build up my stuff. I want to build up my fleet. I want to be able to whatever. And I don't want to waste time and then lose it all. If you were to be in a point where they did something like what Mike's suggesting here, or my idea of like you get one free ship, and people were to go and buy a this or that or the other, buy a big trading ship, buy a big mining ship, buy a whatever, this time I'm going to do the Rock DS and see what that's all about. Like, people would play the hell out of that one particular loop, not invest any time in the other loops. But if we're all picking different loops, CIG could get a really decent amount of data from that. And then people that right now have the excuse of, I don't want to get in because I don't want to waste my time, those people would not have that excuse. It would be like, hey, I just want to do racing. I'm going to go balls deep on racing this time. I just want to do bounty hunting. I'm just going to do that. Like, okay, do you?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, brother.
Good points, brother.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, man. All right. Last but not least, we're bringing Fist. Fist to Face, you there?
Hey. How are you?
I'm doing okay, bro. What you thought?
That's good. I'm going to say this, though, because I think Kai's out of his mind by saying that we're all adults. No, we're not. We're tiny, spoiled little brats that want that golden juice that scoops out that beautiful golden egg called a citizen game. I'm not sure what he's talking about. But anyway, I'm going to move on from that comment. But anyway, no, I'm just playing. No, I find myself actually kind of agreeing with SaltEMike here. And I get the point, yes, give an incentive for players to, because it's a wipe and everything, to kind of make them kind of feel like kind of soften the blow and everything, which is cool and everything. Again, I kind of look at it like this, kind of going back to where taking that responsibility on our side too, and I do have to agree with Kai, what he's saying, that, we do have to understand that it is testing. Now, at the same time too, I do think that there should be, like you said, a little more leniency on CIG's part, to, throw a little more cash out there, throw a little more stuff. I mean, it is a testing environment, even though it's live, it's separate from PTU, and people do kind of play it as a game, but try to get you right now. You have to try to get people out of the mindset of them playing a game, and rather to get them in the mindset of testing. And I know it's kind of difficult because it's almost like we're setting our ways. Those folks that have been doing this already. To get to my point, it's just. Like Kai he mentioned, give them, a bunch of money and go do this, so we can get a bunch of get a bunch of data, because that's really what's going to help the game go forward.
Yeah. And I understood Kai's point. And the thing is, even when we do get stuff in PTU now, they always give an area where they want us to emphasize. They'll say, this is the area we want you to test, right? And there are going to be some people who don't do that. They just want to get in, do their thing. It's a tough balance. It's a tough balance.
It is.
There are people, and I won't say names, who say, I'm not here to test. I want to play the game. Now, you can tell them all you want to about it being early access and beta and in pre-alpha, but that's they have no desire. Now, don't get me wrong. Playing the game also is testing it. So I don't want to separate the word playing too much. When they're getting analytics and information, even if you are playing, I think testing becomes more of a attitude of not only playing the game, but also being willing to do reporting. So that when things go wrong, I'm also maybe willing to go to the issue council or write something on Spectrum or whatever, to say, hey, here's an issue. Is anybody else having these problems? I think that's when your brain is more wrapped around a testing aspect. So now it's tough. It's tough because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I will say this, though. I do wish, and I know it's difficult probably for them to implement this right now, but I do wish that they would put into the live server or even the PTU server stage a report section, because most games have that, where if you run across an issue, you don't have to jump out of the game to go
to the website, pull up the thing.
You can pull it up,
do it
right
in game,
then and there.
In-game.
Boom, 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 bam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be, because I mean, to me, I think that's a big downfall for them.
Yeah, I can agree.
On them, for them not having that in there, especially that this is a testing environment.
Yeah.
Because I would kind of like, I'm gonna have to knock, break out my Billy Club on this one. Like, hey, listen, who didn't think of this in the boardroom? Like, like we're in a testing environment. Why not put in an in-game reporting system?
Yeah. Cyberwolf even says here, like, even put it in the Moby Glass, right? He's just saying, but something in game. We're just saying something in game that makes it easy.
Most of the time, right? It's exactly. You pull it up on chat or something like that, and type it in, boom, and you pull up another window, and it types out what's the report, what the issue is, bang, 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 boom. Yeah.
Okay. In-game reporting system. That's a great idea. Yeah. And I know there have been games that have something similar to that. Even when it comes, I've seen it on launchers before. I've seen it in game before, but I will agree, having to bring up the website, log in, go to a page, click on the thing, drop downs, all that. It does become a bit much. And I don't know, maybe there's some methods to the madness, but I will agree with you that the interface of doing it, the GUI of doing it is, it's kind of a pain in the butt. It is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother. Thank you much. All right, good suggestion. Fitz always brings some solutions along with the observations. Okay, good one, guys. SaltEMike, we're going to give you a thumbs up on that one. You've got 3 agreements in that one. All right, let's go to Spectrum number 2 today. This one comes from a player by the name of PaciXK. He says, I'm not a PTU player, but this is what he has to say. And again, let me put this link in for you guys, because some of these posts were definitely longer than what I have on my screen, because there's a lot there. Let me bring this one in. Here we go. So you guys got a lot of good comments. I was trying to read some of the comments in chat, what you guys were saying here. This is from PaciXK. He says, I'm not a player. Hi, all, first off. I'm not my concern is, yes, the current state of 3.18. I'm not angry or anything towards CIG or the devs. This is just me as a live player is not being able to play at a, let's say, playable level. But the PTU and ePTU players can at least say so. I really don't want to be a PTU player. Don't want to rename any folders, download something extra, copy my account. I just want to hop in and fly around, go from city to city, just exploring the current Stanton system and see what happens. But to see that the PTU will be getting 3.18.2, and here I am as a live player and still had no real chance of enjoying 3.18 makes me unhappy, and I feel let down. I know that there will be fixes and a patch, and I need to wait and all, but I don't know. Right now, I'm here sitting watching people play PTU as I wait for some fixes. I know that all the PTU is to make sure it works before it hits live, but still, I'm just unhappy personally. But thanks to all the PTU players, though. I'm trying not to be so negative about this. PTU looks to be on the right path, and we probably are going to get any fixes soon. Also in live, 3.18.18.1 or 3.18.2, I'm not sure. And at this point, I'm afraid to ask. Fingers crossed. Okay. So it's interesting. Here's somebody who sees what's happening in the PTU, is excited about it, but feels very frustrated because they're in 3.18 and they don't necessarily want to, for whatever reason. You know, some people don't have enough hard drive space. You know, they don't want to do all that. So let's bring in Kai. Kai?
Okay.
What you got?
So I want to be very careful in how I address a response to this player, because I want to acknowledge and respect the fact that this person is on Spectrum, voicing his concerns and displeasure, but doing it in a courteous, non-shitty way. So I don't want to be shitty or uncharitable in my response to him. Being as charitable and loving and compassionate to a fellow human being and space nerd as I can to him, I would say this. Everything you said is exactly right. I get your frustration, but this is what they need to do right now. I would further say X4 just dropped a banger. Like next week, they drop a banger of an update that has a massive bunch of stuff. Everspace 2 just went live in full release. No Man's Sky just dropped a really cool update, the Interceptor update. I don't think for this, and I'm not making a general statement to everyone, I'm saying for this specific guy, with what he posted very eloquently and thoughtfully in his post, I don't think Star Citizen is the game for him for the next 8 to 10 months. For the next several months, between handling PES, between handling full server meshing, between getting stuff spooled up with Gen 12 renderer, between getting stuff spooled up on the back end, with all of the sort of hard testing that needs to be done for the next maybe up to a year, maybe 9 months, 10 months, a year in this game. I think that this particular person would be happier going and playing other things for a little bit and then coming back to Star Citizen maybe around this time next year and feeling much more. I think around this time next year, around next March, people will be able to say, oof, PTU is a bit rough for me, but PU is back to being a polished enough experience that I'm actually having fun with it. I would hope and I would ask that everyone in the comment section, chat, whatever, and then everyone making comments live talking to this person, keep in mind that this is exactly what we want from someone who's posting on Spectrum. He doesn't like something and he's criticizing it, but he's doing it thoughtfully and politely. So like we should do the same and try to thoughtfully, like if you're going to shit post, I'll come after you. But like, this person is saying, hey man, I'm kind of bummed. I love the game. I feel like PU right now feels like PTU, and that bums me out. And I think he's absolutely right in pointing that out. It's a truth. And white knighting and telling this guy that what he obviously sees is not what he's seeing, I don't think that's helpful to people who like Star Citizen. I don't think that's helpful in winning the argument against people who hate Star Citizen. I think it's much better to be honest and say, yeah, you're right. Just at the moment, this is a really challenging set of problems that they're handling. But thank God that they're handling it. If they were doing the easy route and just kicking the can down the curb and saying like, oh, well, we'll do the hard work next year, that would be horrible for the game as a whole. They're taking their medicine right now. If you have cancer, you got to take chemo. Chemo sucks, but it's better than ignoring cancer. So that's just where I'm at with it. I think the guy's got a valid criticism, and my advice would be enjoy those other games that I just said and come back to Star Citizen around this time next year and enjoy the payoff of all of the hard work that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Later.
Okay, thank you, brother. All righty. Good answers from Kai. Let's bring in, let's see, we got Pops in space. Don't forget, guys, you guys can click on the link and come in and share your thoughts on these questions. Feel free. Always looking for new voices to join us. You guys, you see that link pop up, we'll bring you in Discord and bring you in. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What do you think here?
I think this is kind of a new territory. This is a new game. This is a new way of, not necessarily new in that sense, but the new part to me is that anyone can come in, they can buy a ship, and they can come in and they can test. I don't think I've ever seen that before this game. So you have a pool of people with a lot of opinions on why this isn't, operating correctly. This doesn't. So you have a lot of voices. You have CIG's voices. You've got all the players' voices, thing like that. And when I first came into the game, I was, I'm like, man, I hate Area 18. It's every time I try to bring my cargo in, I'm exploding. But I've learned over the years, and some people have to do that. We have to go through that progression. And I've learned over the years, hey, play it, enjoy the people that I know. It like you said before, it's all testing. It all really helps. So to me, you've got to find your place, and sometimes it's going to take certain people a while to get that voice that they want to have. But this particular person, I like the way that they started, and he wasn't rude like Kai said or anything like that. And he voiced his opinion and left it at that. But we've all got to find our voice in the game. There are some of us that play the game hardcore. Go Mad hardcore. Jay plays the game for Evil Kadi. She plays the game quite often. So we all have to find our place and what we're comfortable within the game. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool, Pops. Thank you very much, brother.
All right.
All right. And last but not least, we'll bring in Fist. Fist, you there?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna agree again as well. With Pops and as well as Kai. Glad that the gentleman or whomever, lady or gentleman, put it out there in this way. Their displeasure or take on the situation. Again, I go back to what you said though, which is a very important point, that as this game progresses, right, and the technology that they're working on starts to become implemented into the game is going to become more and more buggier. Because they have to iron it out. It's just, unfortunately, that's what it is. That's what's on the horizon for us, for all of us. I was very surprised to see that the PTU was stable, because when we went into it, it was working, like you said, and then the live server, when it dropped, it was just like, a big ball of fire kind of just. But that's to be expected because you have a larger pool of people trying to get in and trying to play. So I can understand the frustration of this person. But I would try to say, and like I said, put it to this person, to reach out to this person and to say, hey, listen, unfortunately, this is what it is. And in the foreseeable future, it's going to continue to be this way.
Yeah. Let me say this. My difficulty with this is it's hard because, sometimes I'm trying to read between the lines on what's going on with the writer, right? and what I get the feeling of is that this is somebody who hasn't been around a long time. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. Part of their complaint when I read between the lines is the fact that 317 isn't playing well and 318 is. And I don't have access to it, right? There are times when the live server is running well and we're testing PTU. Right. And when the live server's running okay and you're not running into bugs and crashes and everything else, it's great. You may see what's going on in PTU, but at least three whatever, the previous patch is okay. But right now, we know 317 is in a funky spot. It's not running well.
Right.
So now I'm sitting in a patch that's supposed to be live, not running well, looking at the PTU where the bugs are supposed to be, but their version is running way better than the live version is, right? That's the scenario that I'm seeing being written out here. Now, my question would be, would they still be writing this letter if 317 was running well? And I get the impression that they're frustrated. And this happens. Sometimes the live patch the CIG has left us with is funky. We've had this. It doesn't happen often, but there are times when the patch is really bad. And we're like, y'all hurry up and get that next one out because this live one sucks. You know what I mean? And 317 is not very stable. It's got real issues still.
Well, you keep saying 317.
317, thank you. 317 has some real issues going on in it. And it's had it since we went into that last patch of it. It's just not a good patch. So I think that's part of the problem. Now, I do want to give some room to when someone says they're not a PTU player. You don't have to be one, right? Some people have, like I said, hardware issues. I can't load. Like this time, I had a hardware issue because they put out the ePTU, which meant I had to load a whole another version of the game, right? So that's that's over 250 gig of data dedicated to this. So what I did was, like a lot of people did, since they wanted the emphasis over the weekend to be in the ePTU, I just changed the folder name from PTU to ePTU. Then all it did was just update the fresh stuff into that. I still only had 2 versions of the game. Then when ePTU was over with, I just changed it back to PTU again, right? That was a workaround for me. But this person's saying, hey, I don't do either. And whether it's because of hardware restrictions or time, or they just don't want to be bothered. But they do notice this, though. My only disclaimer for this person is this. And it was the fact that they said, I really don't want to be a PTU player. I just want to hop in, fly around, go from city to city and see what happens, right?
And, I read,
So this is back to that person you and I talked about on the last thing, the person who just wants to get in the game and play. But like you said, the real world is this is still a alpha early access game that's going to have problems, right? And you got to be willing to live with that. If that's all you want to do is stay in live, be willing to live with the state of live.
But that's what you need. That this is where, again, and I will say for this person, they didn't come out and blast and anything like that.
Right.
But this is where, like you said, you like Kai said, you come in and be constructive to that person and tell them, listen, it is going to get worse.
Maybe
before it gets back.
Well, maybe.
You're right.
Right. Maybe because that's why I said if live was running good, would this person have written this? But live's in a funky state.
But it's still
that's the way it comes. Sometimes live is good, sometimes it's not.
But here's the thing, though, Griff. Even if 318 was great and running fine, right? This question still would have came up one day or one time or another, because what we don't know, 319 could have came out and would have been the 318's excuse my language, shit show, right? 319 could be, could have been what 318 is, I mean, God forbid 4.0. I mean, we're adding a whole new system and a transition between one system to another, with the wormholes. So
don't get me wrong. I agree. There's always, to your point, when you say there's always going to be something to deal with. And I'm trying to keep it outside of the context of PTU. And what I'm saying is this, if you choose to say, I'm not going to deal with PTU, I'm only going to deal with live. Live will not always be running optimum. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
And so can I say, I feel bad because the vulture is over here, but it's not in live. Well, you've chosen to stay in live. So, I can't say, I can't talk about what's going on in 318 if I have chosen not to go to the PTU. You see what I'm saying?
No, I get that part, and me and you understand it. And let's nip this in the bud real quick. What's life about? Choices. Choices have what? Consequences. Simple.
Right. If you choose to be in live, and again, because here's the other thing too, because I want to move on after this, and thank you for making me tell to move on. Part of the duress that a lot of people are feeling is because we've been in this patch for so long. This whole extra length of time it took to get 318 out. You see what I'm saying? Because this was all back from December. We're now in April. You know what I'm saying? And people have been living with 317 a lot longer than they normally would have been. So there is a desire to see, let's move on to the next thing, right? Let's get that next thing into live. But because of the extension, because of PES and everything else, like I got people right now, I was in test this morning, and I said, what's everybody doing? How's the servers going? You know what the response was? Nobody's playing it because they're doing the wipe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Nobody? You know, I wouldn't logged in. You know what I'm saying? I was in there last night because it's been a long time and people are starting to get burnt out. And then they got even more the wind knocked out of them after they heard that there was going to be a full wipe.
Right.
It didn't knock the wind out of me. I wouldn't logged in.
Right.
But
you're right. I remember you saying it. Right.
I'm like, okay. You know, don't get me wrong. I can understand people who feel exasperated. You know,
I can understand because let me tell you what I did real quick so you can move on to the next one. What I did was when it first came out and I saw that it was blowing up, I said, okay, I'm not even going to touch this because I already know. I said I waited a week.
Yeah.
Still had the 19004 era. I said, oh, okay. I'm not even going to touch it at all right now. Because I'm not even going to. And then I waited even a few more days just to see if people are still having the error. Still are. I said, okay, no, I'm not even going. So I'm not even going to knock my head up against that brick wall.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
It's just is what it is.
All right, brother. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Okay. We are going to move to or from Spectrum to Reddit. So let me get my little Reddit question. I think I tried to type it out this time ahead of time so I wouldn't have to be monkeying around with it. There you go. Let's go ahead and go to our Reddit piece here. Boom and boom. This is a pretty easy one. Those of you playing, despite the wipes, what keeps you going? So we just kind of left out of this from what me and Fist were just talking about. Despite the wipes, this is, now mind you, this is for you guys who will continue to play regardless to whether money's getting wiped or reputation's getting wiped or inventory's getting wiped. The question is, well, does it keep you going? I mean, and Fist just mentioned, he said he hit the wall several times, couldn't get past the error, and he just said, I'm not going to be bothered with it. I'll just wait. You know, he's still, I guess the impression I get is maybe he hasn't even gotten into 318 still. But for those of you who do, and let me extend this beyond 318, because this is the title of the show today. What keeps you going with Star Citizen? You know, why do you continue to come back to it? Kai suggested earlier, and we've suggested it too, there are plenty of games out there to play, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can go do. What is it that, in spite of the frustration, the delays, the successes, the failures, what is it that keeps you going with Star Citizen? Is it having those moments where things seem to fall in place? Is it the community? Is it because you have nothing better to do? Is it because you've spent a certain amount of dollars that you don't want to tell anybody about? What is it that keeps you going when it comes to Star Citizen? Okay. Let me bring in Pops in space. Don't forget, you guys, you can join us. Click on the link if you've got some thoughts. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah. What keeps you going, Pops? What keeps you going?
You know, even besides the frustrations and everything, it's to me, it's the reason why I got in the game from the beginning. I saw a show, I believe it was IGN, and it was about the technology that the game was doing. They were going into new areas that had never been done before. And I really dug the show when you had that Chris talked about all the new things that they were going to try and that this is what the game was about. This, you know, these are the things that keep me excited about the game, the way that they're doing exploration that I've never seen before. It has its double-edged sword to it, because whether or not you believe they can get it done, or, you know, whether or not you have, you know, that little bit of faith thing that they will get it done. So for me, it's the technology. It's the technology that they're coming. And when I see each thing taking shape, whether or not it's planetary tech and AI, all those things keep me locked into the game.
Let me read something to you, Pops, because I neglected to read what the person said to go along with this. Let me read it to you. He says, with CIG just announcing that there's going to be 2 more wipes, the full wipes at that, I've somewhat lost the will to play at least until 18.2, mainly because 1, I won't be able to raise an army of turtles and roly-polies, and 2, my helmet collection. But at the same time, I'm going to miss Star Citizen too much not to play it, so you'll see me around in the verse. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying the game still. I'll probably still be on regardless. I always come back to it. I love the game, right? So here's somebody that says, even in spite of the wipes and everything else, I'll probably still be playing. And I know you mentioned about the technology, you know, and the fact that whenever you see something, you see them make some step of progress forward that kind of keeps you going. Is that what you basically were saying? You know, you hear about the technology, but when you see it actually happen, that kind of reinforces the fact that you're a backer?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really all a part of it. I mean, you can go into this game, and the technology that I'm referring to can be minor things, but the way the game looks, you can go on Daymar and just stand there, and you can just look and see other things in the distance and the detail in the game. It doesn't necessarily have to be gameplay.
Okay.
It can just be the way the game looks.
Okay.
That you just want to fly around and just see and find out what other people have discovered and things like that.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Pops. Thank you much.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's bring in, good friend North End Troopers here today. Let's bring North End in. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. What you got?
So, the question what keeps you going, I think a lot of people are misinterpreting what that question really stands for. It shouldn't be what keeps you going playing the game. It should be more like what keeps you invested in a project like this. Playing other games, I'm going to use Escape from Tarkov as an example. I played that pre-alpha, signed NDA, helped out. And I moved away from the project because I didn't believe in what the company was doing anymore. CIG, I fully feel that their passion and their project is honestly second to none. And what drives me to keep playing and experiencing the project until it actually becomes a full-fledged game is knowing that we're a part of something that's much bigger than all of us. And people say this is going to be a multi-generational game. And I hold on to that little thread to play with my son and grandson possibly, knowing that, hey, I helped out with this when it first came out or when it was in development. And I think the issue right now is not how bad the state of the game is. It's more how long it takes to repair the game. The kind of going on the cancer and chemo. Yes, we got to treat it with chemo, but we don't want to be in a multi-year going to chemo back and forth. We see that they are working on it, and there are some certain issues that need to be addressed now and not be sat on. If they were just to fix the 19,000 error, any other account issue errors, I think a lot more people would not be slamming on the keyboard, voicing their opinions. But at the end of the day, I'm proud to be part of this right now. I'm happy to be part of orgs that we test out bugs, we submit issue cancels. I hope that down the road when the game is done, I would feel pretty proud of myself knowing that they gave something back to the people who committed the time to play, to find bugs, basically help out with the project, who were not part of CIG. Whereas who it was on the Yacht Club, actually, I think you're on that one, where Iona was talking about the bricks.
Yeah.
People who were involved with it, not just playing the game, like, oh, this game sucks, I'm over it. People who actually helped out saying, we found this. I've submitted issue cancel tickets. I'm concierge. I'll help invest it.
Yeah.
Giving back to the players, that's something that could be more of a legacy behind it, but that's my drive. Yeah. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. You know, that's a very thoughtful position. And I know everybody approaches this project from different spaces, right? There are the people who, like we were talking about, the person who just wants to come play. There's the person who eagerly likes to test, you know, like you mentioned about you and your orgs. There are people who are willing to dedicate time to evocati, an unpaid position, to basically be quality control type testing. There are people who, I have several friends who are in my older age bracket, who come from a space of, we've been playing games for so long, and there's what we call the dream game. But our dream game isn't because of what's out now. It has more to do with what we've experienced in life experience and things that maybe over literally decades we've always wished we could see, but there was always some game that hinted toward it or almost got there or just missed the mark. And this is the one that kind of embodies a lot of those years of the things that we've desired to see. It's not all about space per se. Some of it is a game that, like, I'll give you one for me. I don't know too many games that that say you can do whatever you want. It's a phrase that's used a lot in MMOs. You know what I mean? It's kind of a catchphrase to a certain degree. But the fact that I honestly can go salvage if I feel like it, and then if I don't feel like salvaging, and if I want to go, you know, sit in your turret, I can go do that. And if I don't do a turret, then maybe I can go move boxes for you. I mean, I don't know too many games that literally allow me to take on, within that same space, within minutes, a persona, not having to worry about building up a skill rack or something like that. There's the fact that there's so much, I almost want to say the word playability for me as a player, is something that I wish other games, they said that you could. Eve, for example, I remember when I first went to Eve was like, you want to be an entrepreneur? You want to start your own empire? You can. Yeah, you can. But the amount of work in a populated, you know, in a game that's already populated with all these orgs that have been around for decades, you know, that promise was so weak when I got in there and found I had fun in Eve. But I felt myself very restricted, even though the advertising advertised all these cool things I would be able to do, until I got in the game and realized, okay, sure. This game doesn't make me feel that way. So, you know, again, you could be that person who just wants to come here to play for the sake of playing. You could be that person who wants to be able to leave a legacy behind and say, hey, I was one of those people that contributed, you know. And yeah, it's a reality, North End, that you may be able to sit with your grandson one day and say, you know what, your granddad was one of the people that funded that game. That means something to a lot of people, you know. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Okay.
Absolutely. God bless y'all.
Good stuff, man. All right. Last but not least, let me bring in Fist to Face. Fist, you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah, buddy.
All righty. So I have two answers for this one. One is what keeps me going. The first answer for me is the community.
Okay.
Community, for the most part, is what keeps me wanting to play the game despite the wipes. The second one is seeing the tech that they just debuted last SCL. And to me, which was about the AI, to me, that is going to be the meat and potatoes of the game. Because what I am most what I am mostly looking forward to in Star Citizen is seeing not just only the interactions of NPCs, humanoid NPCs interacting with us and other NPCs, but, you know, animals, circle of life, things of that nature. I want to see how it all just, you know, just comes together, because one day when it does come online, for me, I'm a type of person, when I see that, I'm going to go out there and test stuff. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out there, grab a piece of meat and throw it in front of the cave and see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
if it hunts, that's me, because that's what I did in Icarus.
Okay. Yeah.
That was me. Let me find out. Let me go. Curiosity killed the cat. Yup, it killed me. All right. Well, exactly. So that's for me.
Okay.
I'm mostly looking forward to.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, what keeps me going, I didn't get to throw mine in, so I'll throw it in with you. I'm realizing more and more, the more that I play Star Citizen, I'm enjoying playing Star Citizen with people.
Right.
And it's almost become in any way I can support them. I own a lot of ships. A lot of ships. Okay.
Right.
And I enjoy flying some of them. I really do. But I'm always looking at how I can engage with other players. I'm just finding myself more of a, what do you want? When I go in, I don't go in saying, hey, I want to go do this. Anybody want to come with me? I find myself almost saying more when I go in the room, hey, what are you guys doing? Can I tag along? I'm almost flipping the script more on myself than I thought I would be. So if you were to tell me, I've been trying to take my hammerhead out and do this, that, and the other, but I keep getting shot up. Well, I'm not going to say, well, let me jump in my Gladius and come help you. I'll probably say, dude, you want me to jump on your ship and help do maintenance or engineering or take a turret? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a glory. I don't want any glory thing. It's not even that. It's just that I'm just finding the social dynamic of the game for me is something that is meaning way more to me than anything else. I'm realizing how much time I'm spending in Discord talking with people, sometimes just hanging out, sometimes watching their stream. Someone wants to do bunkers, I'm okay, dude, I'll come help out. If you told me you want to do bunkers, Griff, would you sit in the ship? I wouldn't feel like I'm losing out, like I'm missing out on all the action. I'd be cool sitting on the ship till you guys come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm just I'm finding myself that those are the things that I'm enjoying more and more in the game, because it's always needed in the game. There's always that support aspect that players are going to in some point need, and I'm finding myself wanting to lend myself to that more than being the person who's the head of the party or or piloting the ship or whatever the case may be.
And you know what? And that's a great attitude and outlook to look at it, because as this game progresses, that attitude is going to be very well welcomed and needed, because as we can see, we just seen the first iteration of cooperative gameplay in a ship of coordination is with the Antares, right? If I'm making that right, that ship. So as we see more and more ships start to come online with that, we're going to need more and more folks with that attitude.
And there are players that do. I've got no joke. I've got one player, my buddy Reload. He is seriously on this thing about being the custodian.
That's cool.
He ain't joking. You know what I mean? Cool. He really wants to just take on a support role like that.
See, because my whole thing is, like I said, my favorite ship is the Orion. The Orion is a big ship, but my take on the Orion was, or is still, is you're only as good as your weakest link. So it's I look at it. Everybody, I'm not looking for somebody to be a designated laser handler. I'm not looking for somebody to be a designated scanner. I would like to have everybody to it. You don't have to be a master of it, but at least know, so the way that just in case, XYZ, has something that comes up, hey, listen, jump out the chair, you hop in, so the way that, we can keep the ball rolling and, keep going, because we need to have that on a ship like that.
Okay.
All
righty. Very cool. All right, Fist. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. All righty. MT Stunner just dropped in. I was about to change up, so let me bring MT in. MT, you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, we can hear you. How are you?
Good. Great talk. Yeah, this question about the wipes just absolutely drives me up the wall. Drives me.
Okay.
I mean, everybody knows it's an unfinished game.
Yeah.
So at the very least, if by some magic they could not have to wipe until the game is released, they're going to have to wipe at release.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more time that goes by, the more people accumulate, the more they have to
They got to
lose.
do the wipe. Mhm.
It's just crazy. But I mean, what keeps me going, you guys hit on everything, and I often think, like, one thing that used to drive me nuts, when I was a much younger gamer,
Mhm.
you'd come home from like an extra shift at work, like a really long day, and I used to be really big into WoW, and it's like, oh, we're having a raid tonight, and it's a really, like, new tough raid, and it's like, I just want to get in a game and relax. I don't want to have to like have all this high pressure of like, making sure I'm doing the right thing and stuff. And what you were talking about, really hits home with me. Like, Star Citizen is so about doing whatever you want in the game. Like, if you want to just socialize with people and hang out on their ship, like say, hey, can I go with you? Something crazy is bound to happen. You never know,
Mhm.
or if you want to get in there with a specific goal and like, grind your butt off to like, earn a ship, you can do that. It's whatever you want to do, that day. But I know North End Trooper brought it up. Like, I think you probably saw I was texting a lot in the yacht club the other night.
Mhm.
I really do feel a lot of this controversy right now with the wipes.
Mhm.
And I love Xylo to death, and I appreciate all the communication he gives to us, but he kind of made the problem,
Mhm.
by promising people when they were starting to ask about it, initially, things that he didn't know. Like, his only response to that should ever be like, listen, I will let you know if we have to wipe, when the decision is made.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be until last minute, and just be assured that if we do it, it's, because we need to. Wipes are always a good thing in this stage of the game because it means they're fixing problems.
Mhm.
So I just feel they kind of like, made that problem on their own. But it is crazy that people get upset with the wipes.
Yeah. Well, and you're right, that has been their policy in the past. We will try to avoid wiping, but it doesn't mean that it won't happen, right? And and like I said, they box themselves in. And Kai's right. In the development stage, you have to leave the door room for every possibility, just because of the reaction. Some of us will say, okay, they thought they were, okay, from my perspective, Cataclysm, thank you so much for that. DK Wildcat, thank you as well for those subs. From my position, it don't bother me. I've been around too long to be putting, I had more gray hair. It wouldn't be mixed. It wouldn't be salt and pepper. It'd be all white if I wasted my life on every word that comes out of CIG's mouth. So if something like that happens, I know that they were really trying not to do it, but something has happened that says that they have to do it in order for 318 to operate at its best, right? So last week I was telling some friends, people were asking me about doing stuff in the game, and these are fairly new people, because they were curious about PTU. I said, play for fun. That's what I tell them. Oh, are they going to do this, that, and the other? Are they going to take I said, play for fun. It's in PTU. Don't sit there trying to become a mega millionaire on a game that's in development in PTU that we've been waiting on for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Why don't set yourself up for that disappointment? Go in and have fun. And when it goes live and all the dust is settled, okay, you can start doing that again. But I know it's difficult for gamers. I know, because we want to feel that feeling of achievement, that we're accomplishing something. But there's a point where you have to shut that freaking part of your brain off and say, right now, the game's it's not going to deliver. I'm risking my sanity going in here trying to make 8 million or 12 million credits this week when there's a possibility that it could all be wiped away,
Well, yeah, that's definitely true. Another crazy thing to me is kind of like, for those people that I completely understand, a lot of gamers wanting that goal. They, maybe they want to go in and grind for a ship. Hey, it wasn't that long ago that the only best way we had to make money was to like do mining.
That's right.
And there's a lot of people out there that don't like mining.
That's right.
And it might have been a really hard grind for them. So they should really be happy every time there's a wipe and there's new features coming in, because hey, now there's more ways for you to earn money to get that ship. You could probably do it faster and more enjoyable now.
Yeah.
So to me, I just don't get it. But
yeah. I know. But again, different people come into this game at different times. You've probably heard me say this before. It's not the new guys or the people who've been here recently, but if you've been here more than 6 years, 7 years, he should know better. You know, this is how I feel. You know, you should know better. You've been through this race before. So anyway, thank you, MT, for stopping. It's good talking to you. Okay.
Yep. You too. Thanks.
MT's been around supporting us for a good while, so it's good to hear him come in. Okay. Last but not least, we're really doing good today. We haven't. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're on time for the show. Let's bring in our last part. And this is kind of a bittersweet thing that we're bringing in now. You know, I'm kind of like a little bummed out, but I'm also always happy for people when things like this happen. But some of you all saw that there was a post that went up yesterday from JLee. At least I hope you all saw it. I hope I'm not dropping the bomb on you. But JLee posted on Twitter yesterday. I picked this up on Reddit, and I wasn't going to do it, but I saw it was on Reddit. I said, I'll throw it in here. He says, with a heavy heart, I would like to announce that today is my last day at Cloud Imperium Games. I've had so many wonderful memories with my CIG family, and I've learned so much the past 8 years. Thank you, CIG and the community. My life has been so wonderful because of all of you. So, you know, yeah, what can you say, right? Those of you who've been around any length of time, we've seen Jay on ISC, SCL. He always brings his own very wonderful sense of humor and energy whenever we see him do presentations. We've watched his artwork. We've sat on with shows with him and helped him create things before on SCL. He's always got a running thing going on with Disco. And he's been an artist. He's been there for 8 years. He's been there a long time. And for those of us who've been here that amount of time, we just remember seeing him. I've met him in person. Very cool person. So we want to send him off with a good send-off. You know, if you've got some great things or things you want to say about JLee leaving, you know, I want to dispel some things from the very beginning. You know, there's first thing something like this happens and people, and those of you who've been around any length of time will know this. This was about it's more than that, about 6 years ago. There was this big thing of people that were transitioning away from CIG at the time. And a lot of them were concept artists and people like that in the beginning. And right away, the red flag went up and people started saying everything from, CIG must be running short on money. They're firing people. They're downsizing, all this other stuff. No. Development, there are different things that happen in development stages. And obviously, in the very beginning, when a project like this is starting, things like concept artists and stuff like that are very important. But the industry that they work in is a very fluid industry. They move from job to job. If you look at their resumes, they work from this company, they've worked on this project. In fact, you've heard them even when Disco introduces them. They've worked in several studios. There's a process of moving up. There's a process of when their needs are needed at a certain company, when they're no longer needed. A lot of reasons why people move in these industries. And obviously, because we're introduced to these people almost as personalities, it's very easy for us to also get attached to them. We get used to seeing those familiar faces that have been with us throughout months, years even, when it comes to the development of Star Citizen. So understanding that Jay's leaving, and they never tell us why they leave. They don't say, I'm sure there's an NDA and everything else, but a lot of times it's a career move. One person we knew that was the CIG, very up and coming person. People love this person, but they got to a level. We know this was the deal. They got to a certain level where they hit a glass ceiling. They couldn't go any higher because some of those other positions were occupied. They were young and they saw opportunity that someplace else where they could get that position that they wanted at CIG, but they could get it at another studio. And it wasn't that CIG couldn't hire them, just there was no need for it. So what did they do? They made a career move. They don't necessarily have to have all the love for this game as we do, guys. For some of them, it's a career and it's a job. Of course, they hopefully enjoy their work, but they've got families, they've got careers. They want to be able to move up. Some of them want to move into motion pictures. Some of them want to move into because of their moving physically, because of family. So, you know, I don't want to get into a big speculation thing about why anyone from CIG leaves unless they put it out there themselves. But we do want to wish JLee the very best because he obviously is going to be missed in the community, and he obviously expresses that here as well. So let me bring some folks in. I'm gonna go in reverse order this time. I'm gonna bring in Fist to Face and see what he has to say. Fist, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah.
All right. Man, I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't mute this thing real quick. Apologies. Oh goodness. But anyway, yeah, Jeremiah will definitely be missed, but never forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot for the community. You know, I know I came in a little later on the years of the development, and have been around for a lot of the good shenanigans that he was involved with disco and everything. But yeah, he definitely, you hopefully wherever he goes, he will be welcomed, and would love to continue to keep an eye on him, because he does have an ArtStation
Yes.
profile. So
yes, his
hopefully
ArtStation and a Twitter. So if you guys aren't
Right.
following him, you definitely can follow him there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good word.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder
Yeah.
too. Thanks for mentioning about his
Yeah.
ArtStation. Because he's got a lot
I
of
was
work
actually
Hmm?
because I was looking at him this morning,
Mhm.
and everything. So, for my heart's, my words to him, encouragement, we'll continue to keep looking towards it.
Absolutely. New chapter. Thanks,
Yeah,
Fist. Appreciate
exactly.
that. All righty. All right. Let me bring in Pops in space next. Pops, you there?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead, Pops.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this game it's kind of I've never had a game like this. My son ran an org before, and I don't even remember one person from the org we ran.
Mhm.
It, it would be losing JLee would be like losing disco. These are people we have come to admire. I've never met JLee, but I feel like in a sense, I have through the episodes and this game has also I've had the extreme pleasure of meeting a group of young ladies I call a crew, and beautiful people that I've got a chance to meet, and we're working together with, like I said, these people I call a crew. People in Soul Citizens. So it's sad, Griff. It is, and I'm gonna be honest. It's sad, but this person is moving on to something, like you said, it's possibly better for them in their life, but will be missed. But I do have a question for you, and maybe anyone in chat that may know, because I know that Knight Rider plays. Does JLee play the game? Does anybody know? And that's my question. I'm going to end it on that.
Okay.
And thank you.
Okay, sure. You know what, Pops? I don't know whether or not JLee plays the game. That's a good question, because he's an artist. I don't really know. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure that they all at some point go in, and now whether he's in there playing, that's another story. Because we've seen a lot of the devs, when they go in and try to play the game, they're terrible at the game when they go in and play. So I don't know whether or not JLee's a player. I see FC's in line, so maybe he may have some insider information in regards to JLee, but I don't really know whether or not JLee is avidly playing in Star Citizen. All right, we got Kai Zen back. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey there, buddy.
I've got all of the answers that inquiring minds want to know. I can tell you exactly why JLee left. Jay left because he's a high-profile person, a very skilled person. They've shown him off on many streams and shown his both skill and talent with regard to being an art generator, but also skill and talent with being able to be personable and funny. And he's got this weird flirty love-hate thing going on with Disco when they do their streams together. That's rare. You can find many people that can generate art, but to find people that can very competently at a high level generate art in a marquee profile project like this, as well as be somebody like, that's the kind of thing that you look for from your lead art design. Because whether you're talking about making the next Grand Theft Auto game, or the next Diablo, or the next New World, or the next WoW, or the next whatever, you need a couple of artists that are at the top of the team that can lead a team, but that can also, you can bring them out, you can trot them out for developer updates, whether it's Final Fantasy 14 or Call of Duty. You need a couple of artists that you can bring out and put them in front of a camera, and they're not going to shit the bed. So that's why he's leaving. He's leaving because he's a talent that's sought after, and he's gonna market his skills, and he's gonna go.
Yeah.
I can also tell you that people on average in that kind of a position stay like 2 years, 3 years. The fact that he's been there for over 8 years,
It's a long time.
that says a
Absolutely.
lot. And he's moved up. He's marketed his skills. He's going to jump to another project. That's going to be a sizable promotion for him. And we have also seen it before where people leave Star Citizen, get a big promotion with another project, work there for a year, 2 years, 3 years, leverage that to another promotion back to Star Citizen. Like, this is not unusual.
Right.
I can also tell you, because he said it in the stream, that he was that one where they were making the sloth alien concept, where it was him and one of the many of him and Disco talking, that he does play Star Citizen. He talked a little bit about some experiences he had playing the game during that stream.
Okay.
I would say, JLee, we love you. Thank you for all that you've done. On behalf of the Star Citizen community, we want to give you the best send-off possible, show you all the love out there. We know that you'll do great in wherever it is you're going to go, and we hope that your path brings you back to this project at some point. But, like, I'm excited to see what he does wherever he goes, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good words, Kai. Appreciate
That's
you,
it.
brother. Good stuff.
I'm out.
All right.
Ciao.
All right. Last but not least, bringing my compadre, Fast Cart, AFC.
You're doing
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say we're all missing. Okay, we're talking about JLee, and we're all gonna miss something, but we're missing an important aspect of question here. What's Jared going to do? Because they had the romance that Robert Kirk and Spock. You know, that I've never seen a romance as deep as their romance.
Yeah.
But all kidding aside, people may be able to keep up with Jimmy because he has a Twitch channel. I don't know if people know about that, but he used to stream. Maybe we'll get back to the stream. I'll put the link in chat for people. But yeah, if you want to keep up with JLee, join his Twitter, join his Twitch account, and hopefully he'll share some information there. Other than that, I think Kai and everybody else said everything that I could say, but more eloquently.
Yeah. We don't know whether or not Jay will see this show or not, but we do know that you guys can reach out to him through Twitter. So definitely, if you want to send some love to him, wish him good wishes, feel free to do that. People, these are behind the scenes people, and they do a lot of work. And most of you know he's done a tremendous amount of work in relation to Star Citizen, and we don't want him to think that it was not recognized, his contributions. So I think that would be an awesome way to acknowledge him. And like Fast Card says, his Twitch channel, Fist mentioned about his ArtStation channel. Let's definitely give him a good farewell, because he has definitely contributed to the life of this game. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a unique kind of thing. Nomad 1701, my good Star Trek friend. Good to see you. Thank you for this resub. Fast Card, it is, Disco's talked about this with us at the Bar of Citizens, how it's his job to strike this balance between us not just looking at CIG as a corporate entity or just a business, but that there are people that work there. And the purpose of having shows like ISC and SCL is to introduce us to them so that, first of all, they're humanized, right? We're just not looking at all the technical and the graphics and the pictures and gameplay, but understanding that there are real people working behind the scenes who are passionate about what they do. They have families, they have feelings. And, Jay has always been one of those people that just kind of exemplifies. It's almost like when we see him on screen, we already know which way the show is going to go, right? It's going to be fun. There's going to be laughter. There's going to be teasing. And the fact that, like Kai was saying, to be in this industry at a certain studio for 8 years, which many of them have been, is a long time to operate. The other thing I want to talk about, Fast Cart, with you since you're here, is that CIG is growing. A lot of the people who've been around for 8 years were here when there were less than 100 people working at the studio. And there was a good period of time where we floated somewhere between 200 and 300 folk. But now, as I think last year you and I started talking about, the CIG is growing their company in Manchester even for over 1,000 people. Trying to go to a staff of like 1,500. Is that right? Remember what the number is? something like that.
I know they only like the last time I heard it was 850 or above 850, but I thought that was.
Well, I'm not talking about where they are now. I'm talking about their projected number because they put out all these new job, the new job descriptions, a whole bunch of stuff. And my point is,
I've heard 1,500 before, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if it's reliable.
But my point is that it's no longer just 3 or 4 artists sitting around. You know what I mean?
No.
There are a lot more artists. There are a lot more of everybody there, and they've been training people up. We've been even noticing on SCLs how Disco has been introducing new faces to us, people that we haven't seen. So people like JLee, Paul Jones, Brian, we've been seeing them for years. But I've noticed over this last year, sometimes SCL comes on and it's 4 new people up there we've never seen before, which was kind of rare. Back in the day, it was always kind of bringing back those familiar faces that represented departments and things of that nature. So the company's growing.
Sometimes it's like 8 because they have 4 in the first half.
They'll do double and then the next,
right? The second half.
Right, and that's my point. And none of those people are people we've necessarily seen before. We're seeing a little bit more of what's his name? The 2 people we're seeing, Guillaume and the guy who's over Montreal. Can't think of his name.
Bell something.
Y'all know who we're talking about.
Turbulent, right?
Yeah, over Turbulent. Yeah. I mean, they've been kind of like the faces for those 2 studios mostly now. But even then, we've been seeing new faces from there because they've been hiring, right? They're expanding their studio, right? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Benoit. So, change is a part of the development process too, right? And that even means among the folks at CIG. So we do want to wish them well. I think that is something that we definitely want to do. So JLee,
I've had the pleasure of meeting him, in real life at CitizenCon, and he's a joy to be around. So he will be missed. But hopefully we'll be able to see him in some of the Fast and sometime soon.
Absolutely. So JLee from the Soul Citizens and from the community, thank you for all that you've done, and we're wishing you the best with all that you're going to be doing in the future. So that's it. Okay, well, thank you so much. FC, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All righty. All right, gang, we are going to close it out. We have reached the end of our podcast. Thank you for everybody who dropped in today. Cataclysm, I'm sorry I missed you earlier. Thank you for your Prime resub. We appreciate that. For those of you who followed today, maybe it's your first day here, thank you guys for joining us. Those of you over on YouTube, we never forget about you. Thank you all for watching. Still trying to build up that YouTube community. It's our newest one. Those of you who may have followed us on Kick, some of you may not know that we are also on Kick. We're not telling you to go over to Kick. We're mentioning that because Kick, as you guys know, is a new platform, and we are just kind of expanding ourselves because there isn't a lot of Star Citizen stuff over there. So we're trying to get in the gate maybe a little early and see whether or not we can build an audience of folks that just maybe don't know about Star Citizen over there. Whoa, that kicked in by accident. So we do have 1 viewer watching us on Kick. So for you, that 1 viewer, thank you for being here today. We appreciate that. Let's talk about what we've got going on tomorrow. Tomorrow is our main show, our panel show. We're going to be on pyrotechniques. You say, Griff, you're talking about pyro again? Yes, because last time we talked about pyro, we talked about the system and what it was about. But tomorrow, we're talking about surviving the system. Pyrotechniques, what is it going to take to be able to survive? Whether you're visiting, whether you're living in pyro. A lot of times we talk about piracy and outlaws, but those are things you need to worry about. But there are some other things that we're going to talk about that we think you need to worry about if you're going to be visiting the pyro system. Dr. Murray from Yacht Club is going to be our special guest joining me and Fastcart. So we hope you guys will tune in for that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time for pyrotechniques. Also, today is podcast Saturday, where we partner with other content creators in the Star Citizen community at 6 p.m. Eastern time. The Astropub, Paul Shelley, will be doing the captain's table. We hope you guys can join him. As you guys know, he has a panel. He always has great guests from the community that come on board to talk about the latest that's going on in Star Citizen. And then, of course, after him followed are the OGs, the OG content creators, we call them, the guys over at Relay. They come on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can hang out with them. So you get a whole Saturday afternoon and evening. For some of you, it'll be morning, Sunday morning, that you guys could get all your Star Citizen information in. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Last but not least, Fastcart, do we have anybody that we can raid? J2 put in a request. J2, are you still here? I just saw you pop up. I am so sorry that I didn't see that earlier. Let me see if J2's still here. He's gone. Dang. Says he's in the queue, but I don't see him. Rats. Okay. Yeah, I missed him. I'm sorry, J2. Boy, I'm gonna get this thing worked out, guys, with guest star in Twitch, because we do want to be able to bring people in, and it's a nice feature so that you don't have to go through Discord. So anyway, we're going to close it out. We're going to send you guys over to the Astropub, to Paul Shelley. He is streaming right now on Twitch, and go over there, enjoy your time with Paul. You guys know Paul is an awesome content creator. Again, thank everybody who came out today, those who hung out, those who stepped in and shared your thoughts with us. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time, for Pyrotechnics with our special guest, Dr. Murray from the Yacht Club. Want to wish you guys a very good, for those of you who recognize the Easter weekend, if you're enjoying Easter, the Resurrection Sunday, I hope you guys enjoy this weekend. If not, if you're just enjoying a great weekend wherever you are, please do that. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, as always, peace, love, and soul. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. See you soon. Ciao.
PUBG is